Around 1,493 teachers have died this year. Most of them have succumbed to COVID-19. Over 700 pupils testing positive for the disease. This has just been revealed by the Basic Education Minister, Angie Motshega, briefing earlier today. Let's begin our bulletin with reporter Tshegohaco Moagi, who joins us live with more of what came from that briefing. Let's start with this. The impact, Tshegohaco, good afternoon to you, of COVID-19 is going to be felt for much longer than just this year, of course.
Absolutely, Jeremy. Good afternoon. This, of course, is because of the cut curriculum that they had to do. They had to trim down the curriculum due to the fact that schools had to close much earlier than expected. So the curriculum was much shorter, but they completed this particular year. And this briefing really just giving us details of what the year was like and how things went for the Department of Basic Education. The minister saying that because of the trimmed curriculum, the catch-up phase, the catch-up program will take then about 3 years. So they're not even expecting to complete the curriculum from this. They'll complete the curriculum from this year in 2021. However, from there, they'll need to then keep catching up on from what happened this particular year. This, of course, came because of COVID-19 when schools had to close earlier in March and schools remaining closed for quite some time. And besides that, Jeremy, this issue of them having to bring learners in at a different, at a staggering pace. So they did not have the opportunity to actually bring learners in all at once. Instead, they had to bring them in phases. And that is why then this catch-up plan is going to take so long. But let's just take a listen to what more the minister had to say.
Options of 2020 will need even a longer time frame or time phase to address. We have a 3 years curriculum recovery plan. From 2021, we'll be implementing the recovery actual teaching plan in grades R to 12. And the basis for the recovery is a trimmed curriculum. As I said, we had to trim our curriculum, we had to leave out other topics. But also with the disruptions of rotational teaching, we also had very limited time to be able to even cover that trimmed curriculum. So the unintended learning losses occurred due to extended closure of schools. Remember, some of the learners only came in September. Even when they came in, we were not able to accommodate them fully up to date. So the recovery of these annual teaching plans focus mainly on the core and fundamental content knowledge, on skills, attitudes, and values required in each grade and subject to ensure deep learning and content necessary as opposed to superficial learning. So we had to make sure that we identify with our experts from universities, experts from non-governmental organizations, to say what are the core skills that we have to impart at a certain grade, which are building skills for the next grade.
So, Tshegohaco, that's the recovery plan, but of course, tragedy in the classroom, as I've just mentioned. We know that scores, hundreds of teachers have died.
Absolutely. So we've got over 1,000 teachers, almost close to 2,000 teachers, Jeremy, who lost their lives due to COVID-19. Of course, this also includes staff workers, all the others that worked at the schools. So they have really had this tragedy in the classroom where teachers succumbed to COVID-19. We also know that the Northern Cape MEC, he also succumbed to COVID-19 this year. So it really has been a difficult year for the department. And we now know, Jeremy, as well, that because of this employment initiative that they have, there will be about 300,000 new people in the classroom, new recruits in the classroom until about March, and they will be assisting teachers to actually just catch up, of course, on this particular plan that they have, the curriculum that they need to catch up on. So they are saying that they are hoping that this will obviously end in March, but they might be looking at perhaps extending this to a bit longer, because it does not really make sense for people to be hired and then only be there until the end of March. So when I did ask what the plan then will be for those that will be hired through this employment initiative, the minister saying that it is then up to each school and up to each province to then decide whether they will be keeping those that they have hired. But the tragedy indeed, Jeremy, being the loss of so many teachers' lives, and the minister really has paid tribute today to those that the Department of Basic Education has lost.
Take this opportunity to thank our teachers worked tirelessly, some of them 7 days a week, sacrificing their precious family time, teaching and learning to make sure that our learners could recover lost ground. At this point, I also want to acknowledge the fact that during those difficult times, we lost almost 1,493 teachers. We lost a number of our workers. We lost a number of district officials, circuit officials. We also lost one of our colleagues, MEC for Education in the Northern Cape, Jack Mack, and we say may the souls rest in peace.
It really is an education system that has been battered. And Tshegohaco, very quickly, there was also a reference made, I understand, to the dropout rate.
Absolutely, Jeremy. This has been a huge concern for the Department of Basic Education. I remember even the MEC of Gauteng, Panyaza Lesufi, mentioning that they are concerned about learners that are not returning back to the classroom. And this was, of course, some parents were concerned and afraid to send their children back to the classroom following the announcement that schools will be open and learners can actually go back to school. So we understand that the dropout rate, rather, at this point, they cannot give us a definite answer as to how many learners have actually left the schooling system. However, they will be able to give us an answer later on in about January or February. They'll be able to tell us exactly how many learners have not returned to the schooling system. But we understand that at this stage, within those, the grades between grade 1 and 11, there is about a 15%, there's a 15% possibility of that's what the dropout rate could possibly be at this stage. But of course, the DG for the Department of Basic Education, Matanzima Mweli, mentioning that for the grade 12 learners, they had almost 100% of learners, the class of 2020, actually attending class and writing their exams.